So you're wanting to start an intuitive side hustle. Maybe you're wanting to bring your knowledge and skills of tarot, Lenormand, or oracle cards out into the world. Or maybe you're an astrologer or you're an energy healer. You're so passionate about what you do and you have knowledge about this field. You've put your time and energy into learning your craft. And now you'd like to put your work out into the world, but you'd like to be compensated for it. So you can finally buy that house you're wanting to buy. Maybe you're wanting to go on that trip you've been dreaming about. Or if you're like me, you're wanting to pay off debt. But every time you start searching online for how to start your card reading business, it might feel confusing, or you just start looking at all that's involved and thinking, I don't have time for that. I am one busy person. There's no way I have the time to figure this all out. If that sounds like you, welcome. This video is for you. My name's Emily Rose. I'm a professional Lenormand and tarot reader. I also teach tarot readers and the mystically minded to read Lenormand cards like they're talking to a friend. And today I'm going to talk about what my exact strategy would be if I only had 6 hours a week in my business. I created this because I know a thing or two about being busy. When I started my business, I was working full time in what I call a muggle job, and I was often working overtime. I was traveling for my job. I was very busy, and I was barely making ends meet. I started my side hustle, within the first few years, I was able to pay off over $50,000 of credit card debt. I saved over $10,000, which was not possible for me before. I did not come from somewhere like that has a trust fund. I didn't have people helping me, all those things. So when I say I was really busy and I didn't have money when I started my side hustle, I can wholeheartedly say that. Now I do this for a living. I do this full time and I absolutely love it. And I like to share what worked for me with you. I know if you're here that you're busy. So without further ado, I'm going to get into the 5 things I would do in my business if I only had 6 hours a week in it. And I wanted to build a profitable, sustainable business that worked for me rather than the other way around. Let's do it. So the first thing I would do, it's going to sound obvious, but it's important and it's something you can do right now. And that first step is to block off 6 hours on your calendar. Now, they don't have to be consecutive, right? If you work full time, it's unlikely you'll be able to do those 6 hours consecutively. And it's probably actually better if you break them up. And here's the time block that I would actually suggest. And you can reorganize it however it feels right to you, but this is what I would tend to follow in a week. Obviously, it's not going to be perfect, right? There's going to be some weeks where things take longer and whatever. There might be some weeks where you're spending more time or less time in certain areas, but this is going to give you just kind of a good general outline. I'm someone that has a chronic illness, and so my energy tends to waver day to day. So, what I would probably do is actually put shorter blocks of time on there to ensure that I would be able to meet those each week. What I recommend with this too is that you actually put on times that you're going to be productive and feel semi good. I know if you're working full time, it may be impossible for you to fit those 6 hours in optimal time frames, but if you tend to work better in the morning, maybe you're a super early riser, that's not me, then you could get up earlier before work, work on your business for an hour each day. Maybe you're someone who's a night owl and you can come home from work and you can spend time on your business then. Or if you're like me and you're dead after work, I always was. I could rarely do things right after work. What I would do is I would time block on the weekends. So I would do probably between 2 to 4 hours each weekend day. And some weekends I would do more. I often read in person at bookstores, and I would do that on Saturday or Sunday, and that would probably be all the work I did for that week. The reason why this is so important is because when you're really busy, it's so easy to let your side hustle fall to the wayside and to stay in the pattern that you're in that is not really making you happy at this moment, or to stay in this pattern you're in where you feel stuck. But if you put on your calendar, okay, this is when I'm going to do things, then it's more likely that you're going to get up and work toward the thing that's actually going to get you out of these patterns that you want to change so badly. I love working for myself full time now because if I'm having a day I don't feel well, I have my schedule set up so I can just take most of the day off with maybe one or two commitments. I have other days where I'm able to be flexible. I'm able to volunteer at my daughter's school. I'm able to do more things that I really want to do and have that flexibility. And it all started with just blocking some time off on my calendar to make sure that I actually worked toward my goals and what I wanted to do. Can you do that right now? Go ahead, pull up your calendar on the side here. You can split screen me and actually go ahead and block off 6 hours a week. If you're a paper planner person, you can go ahead and put it in your planner. Let's do it now. Now, the second thing that I would do is create a very simple marketing funnel. Now, don't click away if you're like, funnel, that's what all the marketing bros say. I don't know what that means. Or you're like, I don't want to be a skeezy person and have this weird salesy thing happening. I completely feel you. And with a simple marketing funnel, I'm going to tell you exactly what I mean by that. I'm going to have a cute graphic over here. Okay. So we're going to start with the bottom of the funnel. If you think of a funnel, right? The bottom part is going to be where people actually work with you. So I like to build the bottom part first because that's actually where you are going to do your craft and you're going to make money as well. So let's focus on that first. So for the bottom part of the funnel there, this is how people actually book and pay you, right? And I like to spend time, a little bit of time there at the beginning because a lot of people, they'll promote things first, but if your bottom part of your funnel isn't set up, you're not going to make any money. So let's make sure that you are actually doing what you want to do. You're putting your craft out into the world and getting paid for it. And the first step to doing that, to building out that bottom part of the funnel, is to set up a way for people to book you and pay you. I have another video on that. I'll put the link down below as well, so you can always go ahead and check that out. But I personally like using acuity scheduling so people can easily find a way to schedule with you. You're going to save so much time. Remember, we only have 6 hours a week, so we don't have time for you to go back and forth with people. And this is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see with new professional readers is they're spending all this time emailing people, texting people, trying to find a time that works. And each time you're emailing somebody back and forth, there's a chance they're going to drop off. And also it's taking up your time, which you could be spending somewhere else. The good thing about a lot of these scheduling platforms is they also have a way for people to pay you. You just want to have one way for people to schedule with you and one way for people to pay you because it's going to be so much simpler. You're going to know the ins and outs of that one system so much faster than you will if you have two or three ways for people to pay you. So I recommend one way for people to schedule with you, one way for people to pay you. But in order for people to pay you, you actually need to let people know about what you're doing. And for that reason, I recommend picking one social media platform you're going to use, one, and one email platform you're going to use. Now, you may be saying, do I really have to use social media? The answer is no, you really don't. You can just simply do word of mouth. If you are a social person, you like to go out, you work in a big place where you're introduced to new people all the time and you could talk about it, then great. You can totally just do word of mouth. You can also do ads. If you have money, then you can go ahead and run ads. But personally, what I found to be the most worthwhile use of my time is picking one social media platform. For me, I primarily spend time here on YouTube. And the reason why I like YouTube is because you don't have to go viral in order to get a lot of success on YouTube. And also your videos have longevity, which I love. So personally, I love YouTube for that, and I think it's the best use of my time. So from time to time, I'll post on other platforms, but honestly, if I was starting over and I only had 6 hours a week, I would start on YouTube. And that's because it's just my style. I tend to be thorough and longer-winded, which makes me not a great match for TikTok, and it makes me not a great match for Instagram and Reels and things like that. But podcasts and YouTube are the two things that I really like. So that's why I have this YouTube channel here. And I recommend that you look at where you enjoy spending time online, including, I'm going to include podcasts there, and you spend time there. That is where you invest. You put your eggs in that basket. You really invest in it because if you like it and you're really pouring into it, then other people are going to be able to notice that. Then that's where you're going to see the most traction. If you are focusing on multiple platforms at once, you're not going to learn that the other platforms well enough in order to actually make progress. I kind of think of it as like you're driving a car and then you're like, ooh, I'm gonna go over here. And so you start driving that way and you're like, going this way isn't really working for me. I'm gonna go that way. You're never gonna end up at any destination if you do that. You're just gonna be switching lanes all the time, switching directions. But if you actually spend time in one platform, you're going to eventually go there and you're going to be able to see results from that one platform. So I would pick one social media platform and I would also pick one email platform. Now, I think email is one of the best uses of your time. It is algorithm proof for the most part. And also, it's still one of the best ways to directly reach people. So I think email is worth it. And you're also going to need it for that last step that I talked about. You will need an email list. So I highly recommend picking an email platform. I started out with MailChimp and now I use ConvertKit. I liked both of those platforms. I just felt like I kind of grew out of MailChimp. So it just depends on where you're starting, but there are free plans for either one. The email listing's going to come full circle at the end. So if you're like, why do I need an email list? I'm going to explain a little bit later on. The third thing I would do is have a clear offer, refine it over time, and make it very high value. Now you might be wondering, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by offer? An offer is simply something that you're giving to someone in exchange for money or other compensation. So an offer can be a 1 hour reading. An offer can be my Lenormand Learners community. An offer can be Side Hustle Sorceress, right? So there are these different things that people are receiving in exchange, and then you receive compensation for it. Now, what I see a lot of readers doing when they start out is having something very general, like a 1 hour reading. And you can totally do that. I actually have that right now on my website. And for me, that works great because I have a lot of established clients. But when I didn't have a lot of established clients, I found it easier to create really refined offers. So, for example, having specific readings around feeling stuck in your love life, right? Having something really specific around finding your purpose, right? So having specific offers that speak to specific issues, challenges, or desires that people have, because they're going to connect to that easier, and it's going to be easier to draw people into your offer. And what happens is when you pick one offer, that's a theme as you can see, pick one thing When you pick one offer and you really get good at it, then what you can do is start tweaking it and making it better and better and better. And you can make that offer more and more valuable, which means you can charge more and more money for it. That way, you can start delivering better readings. And that way, you can deliver really, really high quality things, but have less of your time involved in it. And one of the best ways to do this when you start out is by keeping track of the readings that you do. This also works if you do sessions with clients. So even if you don't do readings per se, but maybe you have one-on-one sessions with people, this would also apply to you. I have something called a client IQ worksheet. IQ stands for Ideal Querent. And this is like a little worksheet that you fill out after each and every session that you do with a client. These worksheets really help you to figure out what your clients are actually coming to you for, and it helps you understand the problems and the challenges you helped them with. And these problems, challenges, desires, all those things, they are so important for your offer and also for your content. And what I mean by content, that's what you're putting out on that one platform that we talked about. So you can download my Client IQ worksheet. It also has an audio that goes along with it. You can find it here, emilyrosedivination.com/client IQ, and you can download it for free. Now, the fourth thing that I want to talk about in terms of what to do if you only have 6 hours a week to spend on your business, that is to be consistent and create rinse and repeat type content. What do I mean by that? A lot of times, what I tend to see happening in people's businesses, especially when they're starting out, is they will run full steam ahead for, a month and then they'll burn out because you're tired, because you're busy, and you deserve to take care of yourself. So instead, what we want to do is we want to create systems and things in our businesses so it's easy for us to stay consistent in it. And the reason why consistency is so important is because that's how people learn to trust you. That's how you learn to trust yourself. And the more that trust is built with yourself, with others trusting you, that's when you're going to see your business grow. So when I started, I had one non-negotiable. And that non-negotiable is that I sent out an email to my email list every week. Come hell or high water or whatever the heck was happening in my life, it did not matter. That email went out. And it could just be a simple 1 or 2 line email. I know one time I sent an email that's just like, hey, you're not alone. If you have a question for me, hit reply and I'll answer you. Literally, I just made sure an email went out every week to my list. And I think that is the main reason why I still have such a small and mighty business. I can book out my reading calendar whenever I want to. And I think a lot of that is because of the trust that I built with the people in my sphere. I really put that time and that energy in consistently. So this is why it's important that you're creating content, that you're creating things that you actually want to create. And you want things that are very rinse and repeat. So example for this could be maybe every Wednesday you do a card draw on your Instagram. Or maybe you have a podcast episode that goes out every 2 weeks. Or maybe you have a YouTube channel and you have something that goes out every week. Whatever it is, just pick one thing in your business that actually is going to reach and touch the people that you want to work with and do that as consistently as you possibly can. In fact, on your calendar, maybe a few weeks out from now, give yourself a few weeks to figure this out, but pick one thing that you're going to make sure gets done every week. It's really that simple. Just be consistent. Pick one thing to be consistent about, and that will really make the biggest difference. And last but not least, this is that thing that I was going to say you create a sixth hour for. I would create a lead magnet. If you're in the marketing world, you already know what this is, but if you're like, what the heck is a lead magnet? You're not alone. I didn't know what it was either. A lead magnet is basically just a thing that you share with your audience, generally for free, that entices them to join your email list. I did one in here. Can you guess what it was? But the thing about a lead magnet is that it truly is a win-win scenario because your audience is getting something for free. They join your email list and you give them something that entices them to join your email list. And then you continue to provide them value and you can let them know about offerings that you have coming up. And it really was when I created my lead magnet, which I actually have created over 12 to 15 of these if I had to guess. But it wasn't until I created my Lenormand mini course lead magnet that things really changed for my business. This lead magnet was what people wanted, and it's a 3 lesson mini course that a lot of my mentors think I should be charging for. But I wanted to give it for free because I want people to get a taste of who I am as a card reader, as a teacher, so they can decide if they want to enter my world. It's also like a consent thing, in my opinion. But what's great about a lead magnet is that you're going to have more people drawn into your world and you're going to entice more people onto your email list, which I think is the best way to directly reach people and tell them about your offers. If you're like, okay, how do I create a lead magnet? It all comes back to listening to your people, listening to the people who are coming to you, listening to your audience, listening to your clients. And that's why I created that client IQ worksheet that I talked about. It's a little bit meta because that is a lead magnet. It's something I created because it's something that people genuinely need. I realized that this is something I was using personally in my own business and I wanted to share it with others. So let's say you have a love offering, right? Maybe you're doing a reading for singles. What you're finding is that people are asking you the same questions over and over again. How do I attract my most ideal partner? How do I manifest my partner? Maybe you create a manifest your ideal partner guided visualization, right? Whatever it might be. And this then can give folks a taste of what your energy, what your vibe is, and it might encourage them to schedule a reading with you. What you want is your lead magnet to directly speak to an offer that you have coming up. You want it to increase folks' understanding of who you are and what you do. And the other thing is, you want it to provide value. You want it to genuinely be helpful to people. If it's not genuinely helpful, people aren't going to trust you. And the way that you're going to understand what your clients need, what their challenges are, what their main questions are, is to track it. And one way to do that is that client IQ worksheet. I'll put it down here again. Your lead magnet can be a cheat sheet, so it could just be a PDF. It could also be a video course like mine is. It's 3 lessons. It could be an audio file. It could be anything like that. There's endless ways to do a lead magnet. Also, if you're like, I would really like some help with all of this stuff, make sure to subscribe because I have more videos coming your way. But also, I have a course called Side Hustle Sorceress. It's really a 6-month immersive experience where we dig into your business, whether you're just starting it or you're looking to grow it. Side Hustle Sorceress is a really great way to connect with other like-minded business folks, get direct mentoring from me, and learn how to do all the things that we talked about today in a very simple to understand program. If you're watching this sometime in September or early October, you can apply for Side Hustle Sorceress. I'll put the link down here, emilyrosedivination.com/SHS, and I'll also put it down below in the description. So there you have it. That is how I would spend my 6 hours a week if I was starting my business from scratch and I didn't have a lot of time. Remember, you don't have to do this alone. You can join me inside Side Hustle Sorceress. I also have that client IQ worksheet that's free that you can check out. And I've included links to everything I've mentioned down below in the description. If you love this video, please like, comment, subscribe, you know the deal. And also feel free in your comment to ask me a question. Let me know, what you're wondering about when it comes to starting your business. What challenge do you foresee having or have you already had? What fear do you have? What are you like, oh my God, this is giving me like anxiety thinking of? Let me know. Don't hold it in. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you next time.